you. Can we just put that on the bottom?
Is this, this fellow from the extension or MSU gonna be here, or?
No. Supposed to be.
Sealand, I guess his name is, huh? I don't know where he's supposed to be here.
Well, Nick came in and was talking to me at the meantime, and it's Broward County DUI Task Force, and it's their 2014 DUI plan. And it was presented to the commission on May 19th, and the plan was signed June 2nd of 2014. And wherever it goes, could not find it at all.
We just did that last week, and it was put in their box on Friday, and emailed to Tracy by scan.
Do we need to sign this one then?
I don't see any reason for two of them, no.
We carried that last Wednesday.
Okay. Nick must have not known.
That could be.
Thank you.
Call the extension office if they're gonna show up.
They were having a reception
Oh,
today
okay.
at lunch for Virginia. It's
Oh.
very possible they're,
It's just running over.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
So Bozeman Bunch was?
I'm not entirely sure who was there. It might have been more of the producers she's worked with locally, might have been the Bozeman Bunch, I don't know.
Well, this one I was looking at earlier. I'm not sure about this. That card. Oh, this was, $270. Okay, looks like extension's here. Are you Mr. Steve Seagland?
Yep.
Okay, come on up.
Did you tell her she can't win
I don't think it would work.
it? You don't?
Have you got it to work yet?
No?
Me either.
We got somebody to do that's good.
How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
And you?
Oh, it's good to be here.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too, Laura. I don't know if we've met.
No, I haven't. Frank Slip.
Nice to meet you, Frank.
I'm even greatly.
We've met.
Yeah.
Ready to get started?
Yep.
So Virginia has announced her actual retirement from Extension and is moving on to new opportunities starting the 1st of February. And so we were here just to talk about the position and review kind of the process in transition. And we've drafted a position announcement based on kind of what Virginia's been doing over the last many years, and bring that for your consideration to see how we'd like to move forward with replacing Virginia. And of course, we want to wish her well also.
Here we have.
We don't want to wish her well, we want her to stay.
That's right, I was gonna say that too.
Sorry, Virginia.
We're kicking and screaming.
So this is it is a position announcement that's been customized to Broadwater County.
Except a few things around, are you?
Right, there's a few things we're going to add that Virginia and I talked about earlier this morning. We're gonna, anything in the county profile is really to sell to people wanting to relocate here if they don't already live here. And so if there's anything we haven't put in that you'd like us to, we'd be happy to flesh that out a little bit more. We already did decide to list the community names, the smaller communities. We list Townsend as the county seat. And then you'll have to excuse my geographic ignorance. I had cement production in there because I couldn't remember if Trident was a part of Broadwater County or not.
When I saw that, I, oh, it's-
And that's my fault. So we'll take that out.
Actually, just for conversation's sake, we do have a lot of folks who live in the county, but work both in East Allen and Ash Grove, and work for Trident.
But it's not really
So-
truly in the county though.
No, I was gonna say, if something said like major industries in the region that feed into Broadwater County, but if this is specific to Broadwater County only, then it really does need to be taken out.
Okay, and we'll take that out. And then probably the most important section of it is that general responsibilities area. And that sets up kind of the broad parameters for the position. And then because Extension's a grassroots needs-based organization focused on what Broadwater County needs, it's, each agent will come in, and unfortunately you guys haven't had experience with a new agent for quite a long time. But it's always a little bit of a marriage between the extension agent's background and interests and the local needs and figuring out how to mesh those two together. So we give purposely pretty broad areas of responsibility, but in this case, we've listed agriculture as the primary area and 4-H and community development as secondary. And so those two are treated relatively equal.
I have
among
a question for you, Steve,
Sure.
just because we did get a lot of, I guess you call it food preservation questions. And in building up on the master gardeners, that was the next step, is they wanted it to move into more master preserver type
Mhm.
stuff. So where does, and then estate planning and all that stuff I did with Marcia, is that something that I guess we need to consider, or is that just something that if it happens down the road, it happens, and if not, it's not gonna be an emphasis?
Well, we're always, if it's locally driven, we're always interested in supporting it, you know, within the limitations of time and resources. So either it would happen without it ever being added to a position description if it stayed a small part of it. If it started to become more significant, then we would adjust the position and description to fit that. And we've done that, what, 10 or 15 years ago, when you had community development added.
Yeah, when we kind of swapped from being, community development was on the lesser portion, and
Right.
it went up, and then we kind of swapped back again.
Yeah, and so those types of changes aren't a problem. And, but we can also add, you know, support of those kinds of issues as a tertiary, if that's what the commissioners want. Either way is fine with me.
How long will you be advertising this for?
We are required to advertise for a minimum of 4 weeks by policy. We usually advertise someplace between 4 and 6 weeks, depending on how the calendar plays out and everything. And then we start screening, and we can continue screening through several iterations until we find the right person. But whatever that happens to be.
In the back of my mind, what I was really thinking was, when does college get out? When
Well-
we have new graduates.
Yeah, and that's what I put May 1st down as a negotiable start date. That's pretty optimistic, although it is attainable. June 1st is probably much more likely, but it's still in that range of college grads. And may help us with the search that way.
That'd be an ideal time to be able to catch some kids coming out of
Yeah.
school needing a job.
You asked about the estate planning and family consumer science. I do think that should be added.
Okay.
With our community, we are aging. And we have a lot of folks that are new to planning, estate planning. They've come to rely on that service. I think it's a good one.
And the estate plan would fall 2 places. It would fall in that family consumer sciences mode, but it would also fall under the farm financial management standpoint too, from a multi-generational transfer of farming operations or ranching operations.
Yeah.
So that one kind of bridges both agriculture and family consumer sciences.
Mhm.
So we can certainly add that.
Thank you.
And the other one that in the specific responsibilities that I didn't have in there well add something about the mosquito coordinator responsibilities that this position has.
And if we could talk about that with a little bit more detail when it comes up, that'd be great.
Sure.
Unless you brought it up just now to discuss it.
It's a, yeah, it's what, do you want it there, I guess, is the first question, and then,
Do you want to say anything about the meeting the other night, or do you think that nothing was solidified, so should it stay in the job description?
I would,
Um,
I'm kind of leaning that way, Laura,
Okay.
because the more I think about it and the ties with the university, especially with Greg Johnson, who I've worked with so many years and done all the mosquito trappings, monitoring, you know, West Nile virus surveillance, all that stuff, pretty much all been through that department on campus. And so, kind of going back and forth, but I think this still has a very good tie to keep that, as well as the education portion of helping people understand about public safety and health issues and.
Okay, good. And we're in the process of building a lab for extension, which would be a nice marriage with with mosquito
Right.
as well, more so than anything
Right,
else.
because then you could have that space now to put some of those other surveillance type things, when we bring stuff in, now you can actually come in and identify with the proper microscopes and stuff. So in that lab, that's what I guess you need to think about is, there's 2 scopes over there. One we've used primarily just for insect ID to look at it, or specimen IDs. But there's a second scope over there that's more for mosquito, and we just really haven't had space to put it in. We kind of be moving in and out all the time or what, so just haven't utilized it as much.
Okay, good, thank you.
Well, and in that lab, can't you check grain? This hay grain, I should say.
For the nitrates?
Mhm.
Yes, yeah, that would be part of it, you know, having that space and, looking at having a few, maybe your countertops be a little more chemically resistant because of some of those issues that you could run into. I mean, you hope that you don't spill or drop things, but ultimately, you're as careful as you want to, and you get home and you wash your clothes, and the next time you put them on, you've got these small little holes, and you're like, where'd that come from? It's like nitrate testing.
it's a pretty strong acid that's involved in that test. So.
Yeah. That will be another note to make, that might not have been thought about at this point.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think I think it needs to be in there for the discussion and to have the individual be the one to kind of carry the license and keep it going.
Excellent. It's worked well for us. I know we're fairly unique in that, but it has worked really well for us.
Okay. We require all of our agents, all of our ag agents to get what we call a government license. But we'll specify too that they need that mosquito license.
Right, to make that's the whole separate one.
Right. And then, just one other detail in the transition, that Virginia's worked for a number of years and has accrued some leave. And so rightfully so, we pay that out to her according to state policies. And the way that's always done is the county and MSU share that on a percentage basis. So we were just looking as of probably the end of FY14, it was about $8,100 was the county's portion of that, and then probably be a little bit higher portion for MSU just based on everything. But pretty close. And so the question I have for you is that something you, yeah, that line right
That figure right there.
there. And so we've had another 6 months or 7 months of accrual since then, and usage, but I assume it's probably, if anything, gone up. And is that something that you pay? Some counties pay that centrally out of, they have a fund for those purposes, others have it saved up, others want to get it through salary savings.
We have a fund set
Okay.
up, I'm not sure how much is in it, but we do save for that annually.
And so you'll get an invoice through Debbie, from MSU for the whole, whatever the whole amount is, and it shows you the calculations and how it was determined. And that's fine, but that's a question in terms of start date also. If you're gonna pay it centrally, we won't worry about start date, we'll find a good candidate and get them started as soon as we can. If we need to use salary savings to accomplish that, then we can accommodate that as well.
That would be a wise way to go, though, the salary savings, wouldn't it?
It can, I mean, and that's up to you guys, you certainly can pay. Well, it would be approximately 4 months of salary savings, and the search is gonna take between 3 and 4 months anyway. And so that would maybe be an easier way for you to reserve some of those other funds.
Who will fill in for her while in this interim?
We'll hold things together with Debbie, and then we're trying to figure out, the agriculture side of things and horticulture are fairly easy in that, Debbie will connect people with agents nearby. So we have Emily, Brent, and Billy are the 3 neighboring agents, and then Nico, I guess. And, so Nico might do cattle, he's in Mark County. Brent could do cattle and a lot of pretty broad basic things. And Billy's cattle based and Emily's more range based, so kind of go that route, and with Brent probably being the horticulture person. 4-H, we're still chatting about how to do that. Some of the major meetings I may sit in on, the council meetings and those types of things, or we may have one of the neighboring 4-H agents travel up to help with some of those bigger picture things. The nice thing in 4-H is it's all about the volunteers anyway, and so they will do a lot of the work as we go through the vacancy. And 4-H has enough momentum that it usually carries through a vacancy pretty well. And fortunately, we're not right in the middle of enrollment or fair or any of it.
Not in the middle, but.
No, it's happening.
You've already, I'm sure because of the date, waived steers and
Yes.
tag.
Mhm. That's already been accomplished.
And sheep and hogs ought to be down the roadways.
Right, and they pretty much have a plan for that already, so the livestock committee, they're good to go, they know they're doing. And being as last year pigs, we had that, disease, the, PDV, or something.
Diarrhea, something or another.
Anyway, it was, we developed a plan so that we wouldn't commingle pigs and possibility of transmitting a disease, depending where the pigs are coming from and stuff. So they wanted to maintain that same program as what we did last year, just to kind of make sure, it's not out there still. And so there's kind of a plan built for that, and the hogs and sheep and goats, limited number of kids in that, but it's same thing. They pretty much have their dates planned, and kind of, they'll know where they're gonna be and tag numbers, and count dates are set, and our county is still in charge of registration. So they're getting things here and then getting stuff out. And Debbie's been doing that for years, so she's got her spreadsheet, she knows what they need to look like. And fair judges were livestock judge, horse judge, some of the other judges are already in place, so.
Really? Good job.
So yeah, and that's totally just walking out.
A lot of the judges, they repeat judges, aren't they?
No, this year they're not. They're coming in with a new slate of judges, just to add some variety.
That's not all bad.
No, when you've had judges 2 years in a row, you can see it's time to change. Kids kind of get used to styles, and so you can move up and get some belts in.
Back in the days when in 4-H, and I was in clothing, and one judge liked this kind of hem. So the next year, we all did that kind of hem. We had a different judge. They didn't like that, they liked the old one.
happens in livestock.
That's right.
So Steve, about the question regarding how we will pay, that payout, you don't necessarily
I
need an
don't need
answer
to
to
know
that.
I don't need
Okay.
the answer to that, and I really, it's your money, you can spend whatever you want, however you want.
Just to make sure we spend this portion right.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Okay,
So yeah, it's up to you guys how you actually disperse it back to us, but, I just wanted you to be aware that it was out there, and, you know, maybe it's gonna be $9,000, I don't know. But the accountants for us on it, on campus, will be working that figure up after Virginia reports are due for January, and then we'll move forward.
okay, we'll work with our budget manager on that as well,
Okay.
yeah.
And then the only other step is we just need permission to advertise from the commission, so we have a real basic form that just says we can go ahead and move forward with the search, and it'll be based on the discussion that we had today, and we'll make the changes we talked about.
And I
Do
did
this.
have a more definitive county profile on a draft that Stephen sent me. I was working it out. And this morning, kind of short on time, and I couldn't find it for him, so I told him I'm gonna go back and send to him what I had written up.
Very good.
Because mine was pretty basic.
I said, 'cause yeah, we don't say much about King River Reservoir or anything like
That's
that.
true, we
so-
don't.
Right,
I was surprised the population was 5,700.
actually, it's about 59
Is it?
something now.
And that might
last
have been the
count.
2010 number.
Yeah, 5962 or something, don't quote me on the number. But, yeah, we're growing pretty fast.
Yeah, you know, those houses you kept talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like a motion on this here?
That would be awesome.
I will move that we start the process.
So moved.
Okay, motion made to give them the authority to advertise, what's the wording up there? Authorized to advertise the major position. Motion made, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
So Steve, what does the process look like?
So the process, we'll advertise, we'll have a screening committee, and that will be myself and probably 2 other agents from around here that will screen, read through all the applications, score them. Usually we will do phone interviews with the ones that rise to the top out of the paper applications. And then from there, most often, we're ready to invite people in for in-person interviews. Sometimes we'll do reference checks or a second round of phone interviews if it's a particularly competitive pool of candidates. So when we bring them here, then we would have that committee in addition to several local people. Usually there's more local people than non-local people on the committee, but we'd like Debbie to be on the committee. We'd like one of the commissioners of your choice to be on the committee. And then a few volunteers or clientele, ag and 4-H related and community development related. And go through that process. And then usually we wrap up with reference checks after that's over.
Okay,
And we'll do, if we know who we want to hire, we'll do reference checks on that one individual and go through the process of negotiating. Now, we don't always get told yes when it's all said and done, but hopefully if that happens, there's enough depth in who we've already interviewed that there's a very good person we want to go for. We're adopting, campus is adopting an online applicant tracking system. So this is one of the second or third searches that Extension will have running through this system. So timelines I can't talk about quite as much, with as much confidence as I would have even a month ago. Because there's some steps in there that we haven't experienced yet, that we're trying to figure out.
I remember when Virginia applied for here,
Oh, yeah?
when she came for the interview and all. Been a day or two. But neither one of us are gonna count how many.
Thank you.
you bet.
And if there's anything you need in the interim, please let me know, and actually, if there's something that needs to be covered and or you want help with it, you know, talk to Debbie and she can work with me or call me directly and we can
Thank you.
figure out what needs to be done. It's not a pesticide license out here, is it?
No, we just
You
finished.
just finished that, right?
Yep. We did a brand new cycle, so.
So, and, but yeah, normally neighboring agents cover a lot of the day-to-day questions and things, that are more the technical questions, and then 4-H oftentimes does quite well moving forward, for that short of a period of time. If it gets much longer than that, they tend to start to have problems.
Okay,
But judges for fair is a huge, good thing. Thank
this
you.
is probably a good time of year for us regarding 4-H. I mean, they're always busy, as we all know, but we don't have the fair for a good couple of months.
And in all likelihood, should have somebody on board well in advance of the fair to be able to clean up any little things that need to be done during June and July, hopefully. Thank you.
Do you know what might be in the pool right now?
No. You know, I stopped predicting things about searches a long time ago because everyone's pretty unique. I think with the timing where we're at in association with the end of the school year, the proximity here, the location here, I would anticipate that we'll have, I would guess that we'll have 15 to 25 applicants.
Good.
I don't think we'd get down as low as 10 here, but it's possible. Compared to my counterparts in the other parts of the state, we have good numbers of applicants for almost every search. We haven't had too many of these, what I would call rural counties, come up in the western region, so they're a little bit harder to get a sense on. But I would guess 15.
But with school getting close enough to the end of the school year, that should make a
Yeah.
difference, shouldn't it?
It should. And, you know, it's always, the nice thing about the way the partnership works is if the best person to apply for the job has 20 years of experience, it still doesn't cost you guys any more for that, you know, for the experience than if we hire somebody fresh out of college.
Just a couple of things on Virginia. I don't have any feet in the ag world. I grew up in 4-H. My folks raised horses. You know, we had the 4-H steers, that kind of thing. But I do represent more of the business aspect of the county. And Virginia sits on the MBAC board. She represents the commissioners, which is Montana Business Assistance Connection. She's a board member of ECDC, and we've just bought the silos and 75 acres just north of town, huge project. The lights that you see on Main Street as you drive out, take a look, that is by and large thanks to much of the work that Virginia did. She started study circles around the entire county, working with the local government group and others. Started Horizons here, new sidewalks, actually can go right back to Virginia again. Recycling, which is very popular in the county. Again, the arrow goes to Virginia, who wrote the first grant and got us the cardboard baler and the collection bins with DEQ. I had to write these things down. She's been an EMT who's been working on grants and researching with Jefferson County on how we can streamline our EMT process and facilities. The website, community website, again, arrow goes to Virginia. What she's done with mosquito has been tremendous. Last year was awful, but it that's not because she was reading them.
Okay.
So she is going to leave a big hole. And one of the things that we talked about that I'd just like to plan to see with you is we could use another extension agent. I've asked you guys for years to clone her, and you haven't done it yet. We need a
There's
clone.
ethical issues.
But, no, we are losing somebody tremendous, and I think where she's going, they are gaining somebody, far more than they have any idea.
I did harass one of the people she's not working directly for, but affiliated with
Good,
last week, just for you guys.
thank you.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna miss her, on a personal level as well as a professional level.
Yeah, she's done a great job. We actually just had a lunch for her today with several people from well, all of them came from outside of the county, but a dozen people or so. Sat and had fun reminiscing and chatting and
Did they harass her? Was it a roast?
there's a little bit of
A little.
roasting
Oh,
going on.
good,
We
good.
were pretty nice.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll never get her out of here.
But, you know, it is fun, but I'm always excited too for people that have new opportunities and,
Exactly.
so I'm happy for Virginia that way. I'm sorry to see her go.
Yeah, I'm sure you are.
But it's a new opportunity for extension of Broadwater County, and we'll
Yeah.
move forward, and hopefully we'll move forward well. And
You know, kids who are involved with 4-H remember certainly their favorite teachers. They always remember the 4-H leader,
Yeah.
coordinator. Woody Eckergren was mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
up in heaven?
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite people in the world to this day.
He's a nice guy. I really like it, Woody.
He taught me a lot.
He taught me, he was the first one to start to teach me this job that I have, so.
Nice.
He was, when I moved from Chester down, and then he kind of moved up the ranks, he was my supervisor here for a while, so.
I knew about that. Yeah.
And Judy Ward.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your support for Virginia over the years, and we look forward to your continued support.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for everything that
Sure.
you have done for the community and MSU Extension House.
Sure. And we'll look forward to getting it advertised hopefully in the next week or so.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Virginia, and good luck to you.
Where do you go back to Jewel later?
I'll be in Bozeman tomorrow and Butte on Wednesday, and then I go back up to Folsom, so.
So home base is Fulton.
Folsom's home base,
Yeah, I see that.
That's sad because it's so pretty up there.
It is, it's a rough place to go home to. Although it is sunny here
That's
in the
right.
winter.
True.
It is
Yes.
not always sunny there.
We were talking about today, like, man, look at it outside.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah.
It is.
Thank you guys
Thank
so
you.
much. Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll see.
I have just one question. Debbie Ruckle. How do you spell the last name? Ruckel.
Can I ask a question? How are county agents paid? Are they like the sheriff where it's set? Or is each county set its county agent salary?
Well, it's through the university.
It's
And
shared.
I don't know how they come up with the salaries, I don't know on that part.
It's a 60-40 split, 60% from MSU and then the 40% from the county.
But I mean, will the county agent like from Mar County make the same as a county agent in Bolivar County, make the same as in Jefferson? I know the bigger areas probably get more money, but, so
No
does,
idea on that.
every county is different? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Thanks.
And just one other question about Debbie title. Does she have title, department?
She's the extension secretary. I don't know that that's the exact title, but
And that's over where they have.
for the extension office.
I think it's my understanding she's gonna be working in Great Falls.
Yeah. She told us too the name of it, who she's with, I can't remember. She should barely be out in the field.
Mhm.
I gotta take this, And you said you talked to Tammy on that, so.
Yeah, but, per Tammy, I have two claims too I wanna talk about, before the end of the meeting. There's a couple of little things, and there's one other email that's coming through that might want a spot on the agenda. Those might have to be added, and we can certainly do that after she leaves. You'll just need to approve the agenda after that is verified, so it'll be after the meeting. We have two, different claims, so we can certainly have him bring that forward. The CIPs, I think we've spent that, and I think we approved a particular amount. So I'm concerned about adjustment for correct trade amount on vehicle trade-in of $17.50. This is from the sheriff. I think we just need to verify the amount on the CIP before we authorize any more to come out of it. One is there any more money to come out of it? And two, do we need another PILT vote in order to up the amount already approved earlier this year? It can't just be arbitrary picking of money out of those funds. Those are very specific and require the votes. If you guys,
Just went through, maybe we'll catch her.
I don't know if she'd have it with her, but I don't think we should put this through until we know what the total in that fund is. If you two wanna override me on that, you certainly can, but I just think it's irresponsible to allow an expenditure when there isn't money allotted
I
for it.
think we need to know.
And we must have been, because we approved that in the first place, so.
You approved it, but you didn't bring it to,
No,
the commission.
No, I mean that, if that money was in there and everything. When-
That's what I'm saying,
This is
frankly.
on that purchase of that vehicle, right?
It is. We didn't approve an unlimited amount for the vehicle. We approved a finite amount. Therefore, coming through 6 months later for an additional pick from the CIP either needs another vote, or we need to verify that there was $17.50 left in that vote, and this is just an extension of that. You can't just put in claims for money out of the CIP. It has to be approved, and there has to be money in those funds. So I would like to request that we take off the approval initial here until we get verification.
As I
We
go
can
down,
have that, pardon me?
as I go down to Tam's, I'll see if I can catch Brenda and have her stop by.
Sounds good.
You got something? No? Oh, Brenda's out there.
Was.
How do you want me to handle this?
You were right there for now.
Okay. I just don't want it to get re-put in here and paid kind of on the sly when we have something pending.
Just to clarify, CIP,
Capital improvement plan, we have several that we save up a little bit each year for big expenditures, and this is one of those.
and on the figure, I assume you mean $17,050?
No, it's $1,750.
We have to wait.
Okay.
How do you like your pin by now?
I have a love-hate relationship with it.
I like most of it,
Do you?
except I think I'm gonna get a speaker for it that I just kind of plug in here, because it's very hard to get Franklin's, or somebody whose back is turned to me, sometimes it's hard to hear.
I suppose.
And he looks to where you go like this. And you kind of have to remember sometimes to turn the speaker toward, microphone
And
toward
I
the
would,
speaker.
don't fuss, because
Yeah.
that's why I was holding the bottle of water, to open it, so I didn't rattle, because I had that one time. Yeah, you have to remember those little
Right.
things. But it's so much nicer than, although that's a new recorder, and I'm still learning it, but, if I take it down to the office, then they can plug it in and he'll have a record of it, and I can take it back and use it if I need to clarify things that I can't hear on here. I find I do less writing, or, because then I can just point. It's pretty neat.
It's amazing what they come up with now.
Mhm.
How many years did Jimmy say she's been here?
26, almost 26. Oh, and the extension 23 here, I think.
But she told me the other day at a meeting 22.
Is it 22?
She's on the Broward Community Foundation board, she mentioned that to us.
Yeah.
But you're saying she's probably been an extension 26. Where was she before?
Chester.
In Chester. Well, like 3 or 4 years up there. Yeah.
Is that right?
Didn't she come here from Gallup?
She came. She came from Liberty County, I'm not positive. Wasn't from Gallatin.
Okay, she was in Gallup before she went,
Oh, that could be.
maybe that was it, okay.
She said something today about coming from Chester, or
Okay.
Steve did, I don't know.
Where's Chester?
Up north,
Great Falls.
Online.
yeah, on the highlight.
Oh,
Have it.
if anybody's interested in not doing anything Saturday, the District 6 American Legion is holding an oratorical at the library community room, starting at 9:15. We don't have anybody from Broadwater County, no kids supplied, so
Hmm.
That was too bad.
Yeah, they used to have.
I'm bound and determined next year to get somebody though.
We've had quite a good participation in that, haven't we, over the years?
Not the oratorical, the Boys State, Girls State, and that's another thing, we didn't have anybody last year. I think the year before, the girls might have had one, the Girls State had one, but we didn't have a Boys State. I think it's been about 2 years.
How'd you find her?
I didn't get to talk to her, county attorney working a case apparently, so I had to see what was going on, just sit back. So. Health board at 3 o'clock, right?
Mhm. I'd say just hold on to that until
I'll
next
just
month.
make a note that you and I do not approve the payment of this claim until we get further information.
The issue, so this is so I figured this for us. Today, that's a new property we're talking about.
What is that? We went through that last week too. This is fairly old. Do we need it still in the mail or in every meeting?
No, that was, that's what I said, we talked about last time, I said it'd be for the extension.
Right.
Unless that's different,
This should be filed in our office, Franklin.
well, go file it then. Is there anything else? We'll adjourn until the health board gets here.
Actually, we should just adjourn, because that's a different board.
Yeah.
Well, I know, I said that's what we're gonna do, so
You said
This
having
meeting
skills, I just wanted to make
it's
sure
now
for the record.
adjourned. We will have a health board meeting here at 3 o'clock, 10 minutes away.